We have people who are pedophiles, who are hiding behind traditions. Because tell me why someone will have an appetite for a girl who is 12 years old. When girls are about 6 or 7 years, they are sent to the fields to look after the goats. And when the goats are coming back in the evening, if that girl did not lose any goats, then that girl is the one who will continue going to look after the goats. Because she's clever, she won't lose the goats. But the girl who loses goats, they would rather have this one go to school.
Hi, my name is Robbie Omondi, and this is Life 360. Today is International Day of the Girl Child. I am a girl. You watching this could be a girl, or you could have daughters, or you are a father to girls, or you are a brother to girls. However, these girls each and every day live in fear of different threats in our society. We're talking about FGM, which is female genital mutilation. We're talking about teenage pregnancies. We're talking about early and forced marriages, lack of education, lack of access to health, among many other challenges that girls are at risk of. In a society where they should feel protected and provided for all the basic necessities. Going through this film called Nawi, different reactions, different emotions ran deep. And I was lucky to come out with this letter. A letter from a young girl in Turkana County. A girl whose dreams are at risk. She writes this letter with the hope of seeing a brighter future. I'll read it to you, then we can talk. Dear future me, I'm writing this letter from Milimatatu Girls Secondary School in Lodwar. I'm just seated on my locker with a smile after seeing how the future looks bright and full of hope. Life has not been easy at school, but I'm just trying to figure it out. What gives me hope most is what teachers keep on telling me, to keep on trying, and the biggest strength is family and my future.
Great, that I'm making everyone else proud. What about me?
Dear future me, I hope you have grown to be an intuitive, motivated, and considerate woman in the society. What commits me to have a desire to reach out to this future is how it looks bright and the way it is just shining brightly. I will be a very hardworking and intelligent woman in the society. I will be a considerate woman trying to solve issues of people who have not yet figured it out. I will be an intelligent woman making sure I work hard until I realize my goals and make sure I reach and to eat with love.
Then start acting like one.
This is just one girl who hopes for a bright future. However, millions of girls across the country and in the world are suffering in silence. Others have died in the hands of people who were meant to protect them. And that is the depiction of this film called Nawi, which we will be speaking to the writer of this film, who will tell us what the film is about Then you decide what kind of society you want for your girl, for your daughters, for your sisters.
My name is Milka Cherotich, and I'm the writer of Nawi film. So Nawi is about a 14-year-old girl who has so much aspiration for her future. She's very sassy, and then she has this final examination which she aces it with a lot of good marks.
Mama, I did it. I'm going to national high school.
But her dreams of enjoying the results are cut short after she finds out that her father has sent her to a much older man. Well, I come from a community where child marriage is very rampant, not only child marriage, but female genital mutilation as well. And I felt that this is a topic that nobody wanted to talk about. It's kind of a taboo to speak about child marriage, and it's kept being swept under the carpet, and I didn't like the silence at all. And I was always looking for ways on how I could bring it to light. But each time I tried, I was met with opposition, of course, from our lovely brothers and fathers who are actually, we call them the custodians of our tradition. So as much as they try to protect our tradition, they do not see that there are some aspects of these traditions that are harmful to us girls. And I was always looking for a loop in which I could just come out. But it happened when one of my friends was abducted in my presence. And I think that was when it really hit me hard, that it could actually be me. If it happened to my friend, then what will make it not happen to me or any other girl? So I kept on thinking. It actually fueled, it brought in some fuel in me that I wanted now to say this story. But you see, when you're coming from those communities, you ought also to be very smart on how you maneuver around it when you want to talk about these issues. Not long ago, I decided to go visit my friend, and I met her. She had 3 girls, and she looked very well. Sometimes I do not want to have that picture of her because it brings a lot of emotions in me. I met a lady whom I could say I didn't know who she was anymore, because she was definitely not the friend that I knew. Her self-esteem was down. She looked like someone who had lost hope completely in life. And she told me, I'm lucky that you've made it in life. But for me, I was really heartbroken. Like, I cannot be happy with those sentiments. I mean, I see where you are. I see that you are at a place where you didn't want to. Parents have designed a life to her which she did not design it for herself. And I told to myself, well, I was not able to prevent my friend from getting married, but I was going to speak for the sake of these 3 cute and little girls. Not only for those girls, but for all the other girls from within or outside of this country. And I made a very silent promise to these girls that I was going to be a voice to them. They are very little, they do not know what is going on, but that is a promise that I made. And leaving that house, I can say I came guns blazing, you know. And I said, well, this is the time, I have to do it. I really have to do it now. So I took my pen and paper. And when I have to say that there is some kind of relief I felt when I started writing the first lines. My heart was pumping very fast, but I felt like there was a load that was lifted. And I could feel like my nerves were relaxing. I could say that is where Nawi was born from that painful and, I don't know, it's anger. I think if I have to use that word, it was out of pain, out of anger. But it also made me realize that as much as something upsets you, you can be angry about it, you can be upset about it, but it has to be that bad that can push you to action. Because otherwise, if you keep on, feeling angry about something, but you're not doing something about it, then I think that pain was misplaced. So I found my power, I found my voice in that story. I wanted the world to know that girls don't have to pay the price of being girls. Just imagine you have an adolescent girl. What are they supposed to be doing? They're supposed to be playing with their peers, but they're not supposed to be somewhere, I don't know, for lack of better word, getting married, being given duties of women when they are only 14 years old. I mean, that is traumatizing and that is abuse. And sometimes I feel that we have people who are pedophiles who are hiding behind traditions. Because tell me why someone will have an appetite for a girl who is 12 years old. I mean, that in whatever ways does not cover tradition anymore. I mean, that is being pedophilic, and I think it's about time that the government comes out clearly and comes out with the measures and say, if you are found with an underage girl, you are going to be charged with being a pedophile or something like that. Because many people have gotten away with it in the name of tradition. And then when you go to report, you are reconciled back with your family. Like nothing, no case has been brought to conclusion. Sorry to say that, but that is the reality. But I feel that Nawi has impacted a lot of communities because we are doing community screenings. We going to the markets, and most of the times our targets are the men. And you cannot find men, especially from these pastoralist communities, who would sit down and listen to you speak about child marriage. But I think now we somehow conquered their hearts, because when they are watching, they see Joel riding the bicycle and then they think, this is something very interesting. But before they realize that it's about child marriage, they're already glued on the screen and they want to know what is actually happening after the film is done. I will love to report, because sometimes when you do something, you kind of feel excited or motivated when you see that your work or the work that the Nawi team has done is actually bearing fruits. So we had a case of a guy who had married off his daughter, and after watching the film, he came to me and then he told me, I'd like to invite you to my house. So I was like, okay, is he planning to attack me, or what is happening here? So later on I met him, and then he told me, do you mean that is what is happening in our community? Because they saw the beats and then they know it's from Turkana. And then I say, wait, it's happening right here. It's not only in Turkana. This is happening in Masai land. This is happening in Samburu land. So this is something that is happening right here. So he said, I'm going to check on my daughter. He had married off his daughter about 3 years, but he felt when he was watching Nawi, he felt that his daughter could be Nawi. And he said that he was going to check on his daughter. So for me, that was a win, because, hey, you will never find a man from this community who will say that they will follow up to check on their daughter. So for us, that was a plus. And there was a case in March before we went for the CSW. We were screening, of course, in the villages. And then normally after the screening, I always say my location, because I normally know that there could be a girl who wants to run away, but then where do you run to? We don't have safe places where they go. So we were having dinner, and then I was called, and then I was told there is a girl who wants to speak to you. Then I went, I met a very beautiful 13-year-old. She's called Chepkemoi. And then I asked her, what are you doing here? And then she said, I ran away. From where? Then she said they wanted to utilize her, like she was being forced to go through FGM. And after FGM is marriage, so they come hand in hand. So she ran away, and on the way she met a woman, and that woman told her, I think there is a lady who is doing something on child marriage. So she directed her to the location where I was, and that's how I met Chepkemoi. But I didn't know where to take her because we were proceeding to a Kargi in Marsabit. And of course I couldn't take along a 13-year-old girl, otherwise she would be accused of kidnapping. So first thing came to my mind, we went to a near public school. And I have really to commend the head teacher of this school. He was a man, but he took in this girl. I told him we don't have books, we don't have school uniform. I mean, our priority now is that this girl is safe in school, but we will do whatever we can to make sure that she gets everything that she needs so that she can stay, she can stay in school. And true to his word, he admitted the girl, and after 1 week, we send the supplies to school so that the girl can continue. And I can say Chepkemoi is doing very well. I saw her last week. She can speak Swahili now and some words in English. So that's already a win coming out of screening Nawi. So I feel this is something that we all can do. We can do screenings in villages and talk to your friends about Nawi because we want to create awareness. That is what we want. We want to create awareness so that people also know that marrying underage girls is a crime. You go to some of these communities, they are not aware about human rights. Human rights is something that is very foreign to them. So they need to be taught about human rights so that whatever they are doing something, they know that, oh, we are crossing the line or we are not crossing the line. So this is actually a call to action to all of us. Let us create a world where girls can grow, they can learn, and then they can live to enjoy their human rights and live to fulfill their potential. We were going together to the markets, and just, you know, when you are girls, you're just walking, you having your stories. And then we encountered a group of warriors. And before we could even look at each other, they'd already taken my friend. She was flying in the shoulders of one of the warriors. So she was screaming, I was also screaming. And at this point, you know, there is nothing much you can do because they have whips. The only thing I could do was to scream, nothing else. She was also screaming, she was looking at me, I was looking at her, and I could hear her screams as they went behind the shrubs. Of course, I could not follow. And when I went back home, I was staying with my sister. I told it to my sister, and then she was like, but that is normal. And to me, I was like, no, 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 that is not normal. She said, but that is what is happening. And then I went to an aunt of mine and friends of hers, they were doing beads. And then I shared with them what happened to my friend. And then they say, why are you sad about someone who is going to start her own family? I mean, you would also go and start your own family. And I said, yes, but I would like to choose the person whom to marry. I do not want to be forced to marry someone I've never seen, for example. I mean, for me, that was the most cruel thing that could happen to a woman. And up to date, I feel like girls or women should have freedom to have their education, to choose who to marry, and to just have a happy life. But we feel like everything has been stripped, every important thing has been stripped off the girls. Like, you can't choose who to marry. When it comes to education, they tell you don't go to school. And by the way, one thing I have to mention, most of the girls who are being married off are the ones who are clever in the village, in the community. You know what they say? When girls are about 6 or 7 years, they are sent to the fields to look after the goats. And when the goats are coming back in the evening, if that girl did not lose any goats, then that girl is the one who will continue going to look after the goats. Because she's clever, she won't lose the goats. But the girl who loses goats, they would rather have this one go to school. So you see what they are doing? They are actually taking the brightest to look after goats, then married. And then they take those who are less bright to go to school. What are we doing to our economy? So we say if we empower one girl or if you empower a woman, you are empowering the whole community. So please, it is not a loss to educate a girl. Actually, it's a win. It will be a win for the whole community. So now we are talking about child marriage, but if I have to go back to FGM, because they are just like that. So you cannot separate them. So what we do, we go to schools, for example, talk to the teachers, and we ask. What we normally do is that we throw the ball to the audience, not to us, because we want to also to hear their views. And we ask them what is it that they are doing in their little ways to make sure that FGM is not happening. And I was glad that one teacher said that he's not going to marry any lady who is circumcised. So you know what that means? Yeah. It will discourage the girls from being cut. And then another thing is that what I will continue, and I'll continue to advocate, to send girls to school. Because if we send girls to school, they will discover themselves, and then they get empowered. Another thing we are doing also is to have safe spaces where girls can come. We have realized that when it is holiday, that is when a lot of girls are circumcised, and then thereafter they are married. But when we have safe spaces where girls can come, we take care of them, and then they don't have to go home. So they stay until we know that we have equipped them with all the skills they need to navigate those challenges. Of course, my dream will be to have a community that is free from child marriage and free from all the harmful practices that are affecting girls. That would be it is the dream of all the team, and that is why we actually created the film. That it will inspire people to take action. It's going to encourage women to know that they are not alone. We hear them, we listen to them, and we try as much as possible to come with ways of how to help them. And it is also, I can't stop saying this, that we are a voice even to those girls who lost their lives during child marriage or FGM. So we are still speaking to them, even in death. Their death is not in vain. Now is here to amplify their voices.
Tunahitaji hii bahari. Ala? As you saw in the film, in Kenya, our current prevalence is 13%. So 13% of women, 20 to 24, were married before the age of 18. That is progress, because initially we were at 23% in 2014, and previously 26% in between 2008 and 2009. So nationally, we can say we are making progress, but that number needs to be compared with what we see across the regions, because the regions like Turkana, where this film was shot, has a prevalence of 26% of child marriage. And if you go further north, Marsabit, Garissa, we have counties that have prevalences of up to 40% of girls being married before the age of 18. So that means that as we design programs, then we need to respond to county and regional specific prevalences. So UNICEF programs in most of these counties that we call arid and semi-arid, 14 counties of them, and we support programs that encourage girls to be retained in school, because as you saw in the film, girls that drop out of school have a higher risk of being married. We also have programs that address poverty, so cash transfers. Sometimes when communities face shocks, including humanitarian shocks, floods, and drought, then the easiest asset that they see to replenish is a girl. So we come in to work with communities to ensure that they remain resilient even when this crisis happen. We also work very closely with government. As you saw in the film, there is need for enforcement. Kenya has very strong legal frameworks to deter both child marriage and associated risks like female genital mutilation. But we have some challenges in implementation of the law. So we work very closely with the State Department of Children's Services and other government agencies to ensure that the law is enforced. Girls are rescued. Communities are actually made aware of the provisions of the law, and when they transgress, then justice is meted on perpetrators, and also serve for the girl. So FGM was banned in Kenya in 2011. Child marriage has always been banned. So Kenya is one of the countries. In terms of laws, as it compares us with the peers, we have some of the strongest legal frameworks. The Children Act, the Sexual Offences Act, the Prohibition of FGM Act, all of them. And they met punishments based on the age of the girl. But as programmers, we say the law itself is not the panacea of everything. So law has to be complemented with community engagement programs that address social norms, right? Because when you enforce the law alone, sometimes communities take this underground, so there will be no reports, of such cases. So as we support the government and we advocate for law enforcement, we also have equal programs that engage communities so that they be aware, not just elders, not just women, not just girls, but also boys. If you saw in the film, something very powerful that was shown in the film is what we call male allyship, the brother to that girl. So programs that we run for child marriage and FGM should not just target girls, they should also target males and men, boys and men, because in some cases they make those decisions like the elders. Women were not allowed to sit in those forums where dowry was being negotiated. But the boy was also able to hide, to give information to the sister. So as we build girls' agency and voice, we also need to empower the boys to work with them so that they see the need and the importance of protecting their girls. So I would say that Kenya has very strong laws, but the law enforcement needs to be accompanied equally with other interventions, including engagement of communities. So as you saw in the room, UNICEF has a very strong convening power. So one thing that we pride ourselves with is bringing people together. In that room there was national government, there was county government, there were donors, there were civil society organizations that implement. So that's what we do. We know that based on the new constitution, there are different roles for levels of government. So child protection is majorly a function of the national government, right? So the State Department of Children's Services, State Department of Gender are mandated to do that. Of course, being supported by other national government agencies like Provincial Administration for Law Enforcement and all. But on the ground, we also work with county governments. That is where the Deputy Governor of Turkana was in this room. So, and part of the work that we do with them is to support them to find avenues through the Constitution and also through statute, and as well as through the local assembly laws, social protection laws, that then helps them to contextualize their issues to their county. So for instance, like Turkana, we've helped them to develop a tailored child protection policy that speaks to their issues as a Turkana County. So, but then as we do that, we still recognize that they have to work very closely with national government officials, in this case, the Director of Children's Services at the county level, so that they are complementing each other in terms of programs and also in terms of enforcement. One of the challenges that we really face, both for child marriage and associated issues like FGM, is underreporting. If you went to health facilities, because teenage pregnancy is a proxy for marriage, right? You'll find very huge figures, but you'll not find the same figures in Child Protection Information Management System. Why? Because in the health system, they are going for a service, for antenatal care. But for child protection, they're coming to report a crime. Yeah, so coming to report a crime, there's an associated issue of a witness and things like that. So some communities try to shy off. But what we do then with, in terms, we encourage multi-sectoral coordination of government agencies, so that where we are lacking data on one front, like child protection, we're able to complement that data with what we get from Ministry of Health. So the biggest is gender norms take a long time to change, to shift, right? So sometimes you can despair because the prevalence, the statistics are not moving. But the social norms change. When, for instance, someone starts to hide, then they know they're doing something wrong, or they know someone is watching. So that is positive for us, because they're not doing it in public. They're not doing it arbitrarily. The second issue is around poverty. A lot of these communities are still poor. So the cycles, you know, you make improvements, and then the gains get washed away maybe by shocks like climate change, floods, and drought. So then you have to start from scratch. So that is why most of our development programs need to take what we call a humanitarian development nexus approach. So that as you do development, we are also working on shocks to ensure that these communities remain strong, so that the gains are not eroded when a shock comes, so that they don't look at the girl as the only asset when they need to replenish their stock that were washed away by drought. So that's why interventions like cash then come in handy to cushion these families for the period that up to the time that they're able to stand on their feet.
For the longest time, I have always been behind the camera. But 1 month ago, my life changed, and I became a producer for stories that make a difference. And today I watched a movie called Nawi. Movies are close to my heart because that is what I love doing. And on this day, as a mother of a young girl, I felt the pain that other girls that do not have opportunity like mine would feel. So I have a letter from Turkana, and it reads, "Dear future me, I am writing from Malimatatu Girls Secondary School, found in Turkana North. My name is, as I am writing this letter, there's a lot of hope believe in myself, and I know I'm capable of my dream. In 10 years from now, I'll be in a hospital working as a surgeon. I hear my fellow students laugh. I take my books, my dream, and my hope with me, ready to learn and change my background. I am a girl who works with courage and dignity, even if I face a lot of challenges. Fetching water from the river side is not that easy, but I know I am delighted. I will always take piece of advice that I am given by teachers and elders. The most thing that give me hope to this journey is chasing my dream and my future. Moreover, what motivates me a lot is a quote which says, "Never give up." I give myself a promise never to give up, no matter what I am going through. I will always believe in myself. I'll be a role model of other girls. I will change my family, and I will make sure I become a surgeon. I want to be a woman that people will love and value. So as you have read this letter, never let your ego and emotion control you. Wish you all the best. With love, from Turkana County. And as I've read this letter, I believe that each story that I film, each story that I plan to tell will be of hope and encouragement to girls so that they may never give up on themselves.
Now, after this, I believe it is a call to action to all of us as a society. And as we mark the International Day of the Girl Child, the responsibility lies in our hands to ensure that the girl child is protected, is safe, has education, can access health, and is not thrown away like a piece of garbage, but treated with humanity, respect, and love. This is Life 360, and my name is Robbie Omondi.